Good morning, traders. Welcome to today's market review. This is Fred Razak at CMTrading. Today is April 29th, 2014. Today is Tuesday. And as we expected, yesterday markets were a little bit quiet, but we do expect some momentum going in today's session. Just jumping into the economic calendar today. On the agenda today, we have the United Kingdom with the British pound coming out with GDP numbers at 11:30 South African time. These are quarterly and yearly, so I do expect some volatility in the GDP as a result, and around these times, depending on how the United Kingdom's economy is doing. Later today, we have Germany coming out with an inflation number, the CPI, at about 3 o'clock, and then later today, the U.S. dollar is going to come out with consumer confidence, and then late tonight, the Bank of Canada, the governor is speaking at a press conference, which is generally a major number because he is speaking about the economic policy and the monetary policy of Canada. The Canadian dollar has really been trading well for the past few months, also trading well against the dollar and appreciating against the dollar. Just to jump into the graphs right now, we'll go through the Euro USD. Yesterday we saw a nice bounce, 50 pips, 60 pips about, in this challenging these upper levels, and we're seeing some continued growth here. This is overnight. We retraced a little bit, consolidated down here, and now we're bouncing right back up. So we're seeing that the euro is strengthening, firming up a little bit. Not there yet to its upper highs, but it looks like it's filling this gap, which goes back to April 11th, 11/13, somewhat around the Easter break. And so we're looking at something that's really balancing back, some decent retracement potential in the Euro USD, and now challenging its upper level. Okay, so nothing really to jump at you in terms of a trade, but it is worth out to see how this thing will follow through in the future. Okay. Okay. Let's just show what I mean here. Okay. If we look at the graph just quickly, we'll see that it's showing this decent ascent about these levels. Okay. So it broke it over here, and it could have seemed like it was going to go down and fake you out. Okay. However, on a longer time scale, on a shorter time scale, excuse me, you see that it maintains somewhat of this continued buying. So yes, it's hard to the Euro USD. Absolutely, it's sometimes difficult to anticipate where it's going to go, especially when we're hitting stuff at the top right now. But again, some decent trading opportunities in it. Going to the Aussie USD. Also, there has been some potential since it retraced back from challenging these upper levels. Just going on the daily chart, if you remember, we challenged this level up here at about this level. Now we're retracing it quite nicely. However, I believe that we are hitting somewhat of a zone in terms of, let's just highlight with a pen really quickly. Okay, and now we're hitting somewhat of a support, and that's a further support. So I do anticipate between here and these two levels that we will have somewhat of a bounce on the upside, just because as things are coming closer to support, we see more of a support for it. Okay, it's quite clear that we should expect some sort of a bounce on the Aussie USD. Jumping into the USD Japanese yen, there was this, big rally this morning. Okay, we did see somewhat of a wedge formation here the other day, and this has been forming. Okay, this is what we call a wedge formation. That's not such a good drawing of it, but let's do it again. That's one, and that's two, which is more of a bullish sentiment when you have these wedge formations. it's really forming lower highs and then these higher lows, and then we get into this breakout. So had you traded it and anticipated this, you would have been able to see that it was making this wedge formation in anticipation that it would break out like it did, and sure and behold, it rallied like 70 pips here. So again, there has been some great potential in the USD Japanese yen, but the greatest potential we've been discussing, been following, of course, is the GBP Japanese yen. We're challenging these levels. Let's see if the major economic news that's coming out of the UK will force this currency further up into the 172, 173. Remember, on a weekly chart, we're really there. Okay, we broke the 160 level, 159 level before, and now it's taking a breather and been consolidating. But as you noticed just recently, we're making these higher lows, higher lows, higher lows. So if we could break up higher today, we could anticipate maybe going into the 175, 176 level, maybe even taking out 180. So again, keep it on your radar. It's definitely something that needs to be traded. Some tremendous potential in it. Looking into the gold. Gold really took a dive after hitting 1306-ish area right up here. 1 second, let's look at a longer time frame. That's a minute chart, excuse me. Okay, here we go. So at 1305, 1306, we challenged this area yesterday, and then we just tanked from there. Okay, I was looking actually to buy at 1303, 1390, 1298, excuse me. Kept this very small position on it. Didn't work my way, so I got out. And now we find ourselves at 1292. Of course, this is really propelled with what's going on in Ukraine, but it does have some movements in it. Okay, there are definitely some potential to buy support, sell resistance, as we saw here at this 1305 level, where we just couldn't maintain the momentum on the upside, and then we retraced right back. So looking to pick it up at 1293, 1292, 1290. Not a bad position to really pick it up in anticipation that it should bounce. But remember, there is still a downside. We hit this 1272, 1280, excuse me, 1279 before. So it still has multiple support levels on the downside. So just to be a little bit wary of it, but definitely keep it on your radar. Moving on to the Dow, which is our bread and butter major composite internationally. Like I said, every time they take it down, they take it right back up. So it's been very resilient. Companies are still showing some decent profits, and things are still coming around in the corporate world internationally, and that's really being displayed with what the Dow is doing. It's been very strong. So as we go into May, okay, if we look at a longer time frame, let's just look at a daily. So boom, it is consolidating, still challenged by these upper levels. But again, like I said, I do anticipate some sort of a move up. No reason it shouldn't take out 17,000 before the end of the summer. But in these levels, I would expect there to be consolidation. Generally, the term goes sell in May and go away, which really means that most of the fund managers, most of the institutional investors are taking breaks with their families, so on and so forth. So not everybody, there's not as much volume in the markets, and things are being sold off. And sort of, going aimlessly for a couple of months. Will that happen necessarily? I'm not sure. I'm not a prophet. But I'll tell you that historically we generally just drift a little bit during the summer months. And then towards the end of the summer, we have either one direction and then a correction to that one direction, either on the upside or the downside. So, maybe take a little bit of a break from looking at the Dow, but definitely keep it on the background and let it continuously see how it goes and be aware of it. This is Fred Razak at CMTrading. I want to wish you guys a great trading day. Thank you.